I am Mike, and this is Upstairs to the Right Music Channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to show up this evening, whether you're going to watch this now live with us or if you're going to watch this in the rerun. I want to let you know I do appreciate it very much you taking the time to do so. It's good to see everybody here. While we wait for more people to show up in the live stream, um, I will chat about a few things that have gone on here at Upstairs to the Right Music Channel, if you'll indulge me. Um, as you guys know, it's been a minute since I've done, I've actually really been limiting the amount of content on my regular channel. I've been doing the live stream pretty regularly, but the regular content stopped because my camera broke on me. Hey, good evening, sir. How you doing? Great to have you here. How you been? I was just talking about my camera. So it's been broken for about 2 months now. Hey, Ben in the house. Everybody showing up in the live. I appreciate it. Hey, everybody. And I had a substitute camera, which I meant to show you guys. Maybe I did or didn't before, but anyway, um, that I was using. And it was okay, but it just wasn't really happening for me. Sunbase in the house. Hey, sir, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. But I had the camera that I've been using. Michael Watson in the house. Welcome. Hey, 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 everybody's showing up. Great. Let me make a little adjustment here in my height. Yeah, that's about as good as it's going to get. That's not bad. And I couldn't find a shop. A lot of the shops here in locally, they'll deal with analog cameras, but when it comes to digital cameras, it was very difficult to find someone. I finally did track them down, and I am so happy to say that my camera got repaired, running just brand like it was brand new. To be honest with you, I want to thank the people at Camera Express for doing that for me. Frederick Rogers in the house, welcome. The guys at Camera Express are doing that for me, fixing this Panasonic Luminix. I've had this camera for about 7 years now. This was the camera that I bought to do my YouTube channel. And it has held up in that time. This is the first time that I had an issue with it. So I consider it to be a great investment. And to celebrate that, I recorded some new content that I filmed. I'm in the process of editing it, and I will be getting that out this week. Please support this channel by checking out when it does hit. I do appreciate it. And hearing from you guys down in the comments section that you liked it, that always makes my day too. So if you can do that when it comes out, but that will be coming out. I have a few things actually. So I can get back into filming regular content is the gist of that story. So a lot of stuff coming through. Perfect timing because I didn't get my shipment in this weekend, unfortunately. Um, I did get a noise gate in that I ordered. I keep buying noise gates, selling them, buying them, or trading them. And it always comes back to, dude, you need a noise gate. So I got another one. That came in. Fern, I got the work done on the Epiphone. So this is the 1956 P90 gold top Epiphone. And as you know, I bought it. Whoops. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hold on, let me put the Epiphone down and let me tighten this. I think is what we need to do here. Yeah, there we go. So I got this back from Fern. When I bought it, it was missing its truss rod cover. One of the reasons I was able to get it, other than that, the body, no scratches, no dents, no breaks, no nicks, nothing. Perfect condition body, but the person had sold the pick guard and the truss rod cover because these Korean, I've said this before, but these Korean Epiphones, the sizes of these parts are different from the Japanese and the Chinese ones, interestingly enough. And people who get these Korean Epiphones are always looking for stuff like that. So, but I got it for a deal, and Fern crafted on his machine a custom We found the schematics for the Korean truss rod cover, and he created this. And I think he did an excellent job. And the original says gold top 56, a 56 gold top on it. But you know what? I'm happy to have a perfect, in terms of matching to the dimensions. Truss rod cover on this guitar more than anything else. So pretty cool that he was able to do that work. As you know, I do a lot of restoration where I buy stuff. If I think if the bones are solid, like this is a good example of that. If I feel the bones are solid on it, but it needs a little restoration, I will do that. I will do that. What you need, young man, is another Japanese guitar. Just so happens. Tall, Thin Kev is typing in. These is a dot dot dot. We'll wait for the rest of that. It really is great to be able to have people like Fern around who can recraft those little pieces because it's those little things, the knobs or the cover or the plastic guards going around the pickups. You know, a lot of that stuff cracks on these older, especially the Japanese guitars, and it is really great to have him now with the machine. He bought a machine where he can replicate a lot of plastic parts. So that is going to be awesome going forward because we can do stuff like that. We can restore this, and now this thing is good to go. It's ready to go. Tall Thin Kev, 1979 Vantage Acoustic. Vantage, I know, as a company, a 79. Ooh, that's nice. All of those 70s guitars, the woods are what it is because, for example, even going into my early 90s Yamaha acoustic guitar, uh, those woods are now the top of the end Taylor woods. So you'd have to go to top end of Taylor to get the stuff that they were doing back in the 70s and 80s going into the 90s. So yeah, that's awesome. Um, so yeah, I'm really stoked about that. That he came through, man. I mean, it looks like I said, other than that script, but that's okay because what a lot of cats will do is they'll try to put an Epiphone on here or they'll put a Gibson one and it just looks crappy. But this looks complete now, so this one is good to go. I'm not gonna do the pick guard because some cats just take the pick guard off anyway and if they want to source one of those, they can do it on their own. But I did have to have that truss rod cover. So now, in my opinion, this guitar is ready to rock. So yeah, you know, my screen is frozen. It's not very helpful. I'm trying to monitor things here. I see it was a TV commercial. I really because I'm too cheap to pay for YouTube Premium. Yeah, I was gardening this weekend. I could have set up we actually had decent weather this weekend. I said to myself Saturday, I'm going to set up the paint tent and I'm going to really try to finish up the paint job on that strat body that I've been wanting to do forever. But I just couldn't get to it because of a myriad of other things that I had to do. So Saturday was out, and today I just felt like gardening, going out there cleaning up, pulling weeds, that sort of thing. And ideas for the live stream usually come to me. And prior to that, I was listening to a report about China on an economic site that I look at. I tell you guys sometimes I read Zero Hedge uh, and they were talking about economic warfare and some of the things that China has been doing, to the financial systems out there in order to cause disruptions to the West. And yeah, you say to yourself, "Well, Mike, what does that have to do with Epiphones?" Well, it has a lot to do with Epiphones, actually. Happy Sunday. Let's see. Let's switch over. I'm sorry, on the wrong screen. Happy Sunday at Mike's Day to everyone. Tommy Mac, welcome, welcome. How you doing, man? Thank you so much. Yeah. So this is a little bit of a heavier conversation tonight, but we are going to talk about Epiphones and where I think the future of them is going. It's especially framing it in terms of maybe right now we're not exactly the most friendliest position with some of the places that we're doing business with, particularly Epiphone in their shop in China. So a little guitar enthusiast stuff here, a little bit of economic stuff here. Something for everyone, or maybe not. Well, if you tuned in and you're here, you obviously dig this kind of stuff. So I will continue. So I have some notes here as usual. I put down some thoughts on the subject. And yeah, we're going to deal into China's increasing economic war against the West by restricting dollar FX exchanges. That's what I was reading about and what led to these thoughts. And we'll look at how this could affect Epiphone uh, and how it could lead to a potential move to places like Singapore, I'm thinking, or other Asian locations that might be better for that particular manufacturer. Now, China has recently intensified its economic stance against the West by tightening restrictions on dollar foreign exchange FX transactions. Basically, you have money that you want to change between China that are held in dollars. They may not want to give those dollars up and put restrictions on how many you can change over. And Epiphone is certainly in that position, being the type of company it is. However, with these new restrictions, exchanging dollars for yuan is becoming more complex and costly. This situation could potentially disrupt Epiphone's ability to pay local suppliers and workers, leading to increased production cost and potential delays. Now, these are the two things that I want to highlight. So, I guess another title for this: if you think Epiphones are expensive now, boy, howdy, wait and see, because there are things out there that affect them. A good number of companies have already moved out. Yeah, that's correct. Um, Steve says, loving my Chinese ever phone, Sheraton 2012. Yeah, yeah. This is one of those things where it started in Japan, as you know, Epiphone. And we'll be talking about that coming up here on my channel because I have an Orville by Gibson. Should arrive tomorrow. Like I said, my shipment didn't come yesterday. I was bummed out, but it should be here tomorrow. And we'll go through that. But then move to Korea. So this is a Korean Epiphone from 1998. And this guitar, then because of the costs produced in Korea, the production of this guitar was moved over to China. And now with these issues in the FX markets, I thought to myself, boy, howdy, that could really have an effect on the cost of Epiphone. And now, and also potential delays in terms of getting them, even getting them. Because again, like I said, these kind of things could lead to not paying your clients because they're getting paid in dollars. They need to change it over to yuan to handle their suppliers and their workers. And China's throwing up walls as they do. So, how does this impact Epiphone directly? For starters, the company might face significant cash flow challenges. Restrictions on a dollar FX exchanges mean higher transaction costs and greater difficulty in converting profits made in dollars back into yuan to fund operations. Basically, what I just said. I typed it out so elegantly, but just to condense that thought down again, when you're in a situation where you're negatively impacted by not anything that you do. You're paying the rules, you're paying your taxes locally, you're providing a great wage for the workers who are fortunate to work in that factory, and yet and still the government of some countries will throw up barriers to you. And you've invested a lot of money in setting up a factory there, obviously, and that really starts to get you to thinking, maybe it's time to move yet again. As I pointed out, they've moved. This is the third move that they've done in the last 3 or 4 decades. So that wouldn't be such a surprising thing, I think. Now, this could lead to higher prices for consumers and lower margins, obviously, for the company because there's only, I mean, they're hitting that wall of credibility in terms of cost with those inspired by Gibson Epiphones right now. And this kind of stuff is really what could lead to potentially disaster with their profits. And again, that comes down to, okay, do we ride this one out or do we think about moving somewhere else? Now, this uh, could lead to supply chain disruptions. If suppliers face currency exchange issues, they may increase their prices, causing a ripple effect throughout the production process. Again, like I said, if it's hard to get the conversion going, and that feeds up the chain. Steve, Epiphone were made in Korea at Semic Factory. Right, yes. So this is a perfect example of a Semic Factory Epiphone. This was made there. If you look at the code there on the back, it'll tell you that it's a Semic Factory one. And a lot of people kind of poo poo these Korean made Epiphones. I don't know why, because this is an excellent guitar. 1998, I like the P90s. It wasn't until later that they put the P90 Pros. So these are not P90 Pros, these are just their standard Korean made P90s from the time. But hey, it's got Alnico 5 in there and they got a growl to them. Semic Factory stuff I think is good. There's turds everywhere, but I think it's a little harsh criticism on those out there. So there's that. Now, of course, I talked about supply chain disruptions. So, of course, in the Chinese model, you've got the supplier of your bridge, you got the supplier of your knobs, you got the supplier for your pickups, as so forth and so on. As you go through this, and as it becomes more and more difficult to play these suppliers, or they have tightening on things themselves, that drives up the cost of the whole production chain, the whole guitar. So the guitar itself becomes that much more expensive because each individual part becomes that much more expensive. Follow me, guys? All right. Now, given these challenges, Epiphone might consider relocating its manufacturing, such as Singapore, Vietnam, or Indonesia. I lived in Singapore for 5 years, so I'm very familiar with Singapore. One of the plus points of Singapore is they had the technological infrastructure to be able to set up there. What I think would be their issue is labor. Unless they were willing to, now they could bring in people from Indonesia on special permits in terms of you know high technical skill visa type of thing, and get them in to get started and to train the locals. Um, but one of the reasons why the Simic guitars kind of had a bad rap is when they first got started there, of course it was rough. It was pretty rough. By 98, which is I think it's 2 years or so into the production there, they had it pretty well ironed out. But the same thing will occur if they move again. They're going to have to consider those kind of costs as well in Singapore. Now, in Vietnam, frankly, those guys already know how to build guitars. As a matter of fact, there are some manufacturers who are building big names that are building out of Vietnam right now. So this would probably be more attractive. It'd be a lower cost thing, but from the infrastructure thing, you would have to make some investments. But between Singapore and the last on my list, Indonesia, which already, as we know, the core factories are there. They already are established with building guitars, but the costs are a little bit higher there. So Vietnam would be somewhere between the two of those in terms of cost and experience. But Singapore could not be ruled out. Um, these countries offer attractive alternatives with their own unique advantages. So that I just went through with you guys. Vietnam and Indonesia, lower cost labor, manufacturing capabilities, which could help Epiphone maintain its cost advantages. In other words, if they were to move to Vietnam or Indonesia, less likely, um, they could keep their costs pretty much where it's at right now. So, you don't have to see those every 3 month raises in costs that you see out of the Chinese stuff because of these FX restrictions that are being placed on them, which would be a good thing. James in the house. How you doing, sir? Welcome, welcome. Talking boring, dry economic stuff tonight. But I think it's food for thought, and also keeps us not looking at just guitars, but this you could spread this one across the whole piece of bread. Okay, it's not nothing but a muffin, as Prince used to say. It's got a lot of butter to go on this one. It could extend to a lot of things: dishwashers, refrigerators, tires, anything that comes out of China. Temu. You can't shop like a billionaire anymore. You have to shop like a thousandaire or a hundredaire because they won't be able to send it, and it won't be attractive to them because the exchanges on it will be poor. It works with Chinese companies, as you can see as well. The Chinese company really doesn't give a damn about that. They have other um, modus operandi, as they say. However, a move wouldn't be without its challenges. Relocating manufacturing is a complex and costly process that involves setting up new facilities, establishing new supply chains, and potentially facing different regulatory environments. Um, Again, I've spent a lot of time in Vietnam and in Indonesia and most of Asia. And regulatory wise, I still think that Vietnam or Singapore would probably be the best bet. But there's also the risk of disrupting current production, which could lead to short term shortages and affect Epiphone's market share. Again, another place where this kind of disruption of moving, picking up and moving, will cause supply chain disruptions in just the end final product. Not to mention, like I said, the type of people that you're going to have working on your new stuff and reputation. You know, again, we've seen that. We saw that when they first set up in Korea, and we saw that when they first set up in China. And the next setup will be no different. But it may be necessary. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Hey guys, hey, how you doing? We had Indonesian-made Epiphones coming into the old shop, brand new, back in 2011. They have used factories there before. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, production is in full swing. One of the things, my taglines in terms of talking about the ecological impact of that kind of guitar production is in Indonesia. Again, they're using a lot of wood every day, and so yeah, however, they are tooled up and ready to go. It really depends. But for Epiphone to do as they've kind of done, they do work and partner with companies, but there's partner companies in Vietnam and Indonesia as well that they could get. with that could help them get going. It could certainly help with some of the regulatory issues that I see that could come up, as well as the workers that you need in order, the qualified, skilled workers that you need in order to get that going smoothly. Because what you want to hear is, hey, these new Vietnamese Epiphones are awesome. You don't want to hear, holy crap, I can't even keep this thing in tune. That you don't want. They know that. They've had that happen before. So there is that. um, Now, impact on the global guitar market. Uh, what does this mean for the guitar market as a whole? Well, firstly, we could see a shift in the competitive landscape as a result of this. I think my thoughts. My thoughts. If Epiphone successfully relocates and maintains its production efficiency, other companies might follow suit, leading to geographic diversification of guitar manufacturing away from China, which has already happened, as was pointed out there in the stream. It's really actually already happened. And again, the shift is to Indonesia and Vietnam. India is a contender I didn't add in here. India has the potential environmental impact. I can't see that being an issue to do it as well. I think that would be interesting because you can certainly obtain rosewood. Um, Indian laurel is not from India per se. Uh, they have other woods. In other words, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Other than Indian laurel, you could also get cheap rosewood as well. So maybe that would be something that would go back into the production of Epiphones if they were to move to India. The woods there are quite good, quite good. So that could be good. Um, just a thought. This could enhance competition in the market as companies leverage the benefits of different regional strengths. But on the flip side, if relocation efforts falter, as I said, if you get it over there, you start it up, and Guitar Player magazine is saying these are the worst Epiphones ever, then we might see a temporary shortage of guitars, especially in the mid-range segment that we talk about on this channel mostly. And this is why I think it can lead to higher prices and reduce consumer choice as well. I always talk about, try to slip in these conversations about our reduction of choices as we go forward. And this has nothing to do with Epiphone. This is no criticism of Epiphone whatsoever at all in this conversation. This is the cost of doing business where you do business at. They were chasing the lower cost alternatives. And once upon a time, China seemed like an ideal move. But now, where the stakes are high, where your competitors are hungry, and they will fall upon you. And Epiphone is in a very interesting, precarious position where they're at. So there is that. By again, no fault of their own. Um, for consumers, this means that you might have to pay more for your next guitar purchase, at least in the short term, I think. I think this is a short term kind of thing. Brands that don't adjust quickly to the changing economic landscape may also find themselves struggling to compete, which could lead to less innovation, which again, innovation is something that's sorely needed, but you need capital in order to stimulate innovation, and fewer options on the market. Again, that's being fed down a narrow channel in terms of our options as consumers, not just in guitars, but in just about everything that we're getting out of that particular country at this time. Dr. Powell, Epiphone 335, any ideas? Yeah, if you can, look in, look, type in Yamaha SA 700, the Yamaha SA 1200, I think those two guitars, you'll have to get them from Japan. But if we had one here. If you're interested, look back in my regular content. We did an unboxing of one of them, so you can see the quality of those guitars. I think for the money, and it's worth. I don't know where you're at in terms of that fees, but it's worth it, even with the cost of import. You're doing it's because these guitars were made in the 70s, talking about 77, 78, 79, and quite frankly the quality, build quality and things like that are unparalleled, and you're not going to get a cheaper, better 335 out there. So those are my thoughts. um so less innovation and fewer options in the market, which again is not great for us. Now, this tightening of the FX markets in China is more than just a financial policy. It's really a move that could really reshape the global guitar community. Um, because again, we're talking about the guitar in a whole, but how many, the bridges on current Epiphones, this kind of stuff is probably produced in China, with guys that have been making this stuff for a while. To source a new provider of these parts in another country outside of China is one of the things that I'm trying to say that could drive up could potentially drive up the cost of Epiphones even more if they continue to stay in that situation. Yeah. So stuff like this is produced pretty relatively cheaply in China. The quality of it really depends upon the supplier. They can go from really bad to okayish, like this one, to ones that would be sourced for Epiphone and other companies. But if these guys are getting squeezed in the FX deal and they have to raise their prices along with every other part on that guitar, then what you're going to see is an involuntary price up move on Epiphones that they may not want to do. When you're looking at the 1959 uh, inspired by Gibson, the current one, and I saw one here for 1,599 euros. Okay. And if situations occur that make it such that Epiphone has to increase their cost productions of those guitars because the individual cost of the parts, then that thing could skyrocket. You could be looking at $2,500 Epiphones somewhere in the not too distant future. And I'm again, I'm pointing this out. I'm not saying that that's where it's going to go, but that is the potential of what could happen. Global politics are important because they play a role, even reaching down into our very hobbies, our lives. Unfortunately, in some cases, it is something that we have to pay attention to. And sometimes we're quick to jump down Epiphone. Oh, why are you guys raising your prices again? Well, maybe because they had to. They were politically motivated to do so. Seamus O'Brien, Mr. O'Brien in the house. How you doing? Good evening, all. Love my Epi Elitist Japan. Yes, Tombstone headstock. Have you played one yet, Mike? Yes, I have. And this week, probably, possibly tomorrow, again, I will have an Orville by Gibson SG coming in. And that should have the correct headstock on it as well. It's a step above the Elitist, actually, a little bit. I don't have it here with me. But the Yamaha falls in that line. The guys who made that elitist made that a Yamaha Lord player. Same guys. 3 years later. But yeah, man, dig that. Ben Allmark, would it be possible that Epiphone saw this coming, and that's why they raised the prices? Maybe. Well, there's a thought. I mean, again, like I said, I'm just reading this article, so that means that this must have been going on for a while. Somebody's reporting on it, which means that yeah, it could obviously be the reasoning behind these high cost inspired by Gibsons, and they're reading the tea leaves, maybe baking it in a little bit too. But they are certainly being forced. Again, I, I I'm the first one to jump on Epiphone when they do something shady, like the limited edition. But in this case, these are market forces that are causing these issues, and it may be a situation where it gets worse. Yeah, saw this coming. Michael Watson, is it possible if they move the factories that they would source the parts from China? Well, again, like I said, what do you do when your supplier in China bridges is being squeezed on that FX2 and his costs go up? Then you have to source this, either pay the piper on that or begin to look in other parts of the world who else has the tooling, the factory, and the knowledge to be able to produce these at a cost to keep our costs down. Like I said, it's straight. We're thinking of the whole guitar, but each of those little individual parts and pieces, the caps, even the parts that we don't see, the stuff underneath, the caps and the pots and the wires and all that stuff, man. If you got an FX squeeze and all that stuff is being created in China, but you got dollars, that's generated from it, then you got an issue there right now. So yeah, that they could source it from China, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of moving the factory over in a way, because or it would keep things status quo. But I just don't see them doing that. Again, pointing this stuff out because it's just another one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situations. And I'd be very curious to see how this plays out. But I thought that I would share this with you. In conclusion, China's tightening of dollar FX exchanges is more than just a financial policy. It's a move that could reshape the global guitar industry. Epiphone, like many other companies, may face significant hurdles, but also new opportunities if it decides to relocate. Some of those opportunities I pointed out, like India, for example, again, is the wood sourcing. The quality of the wood that you can get. I'm not kidding. If you guys have ever been to India and you've seen the furniture and the stuff there, this the quality. You know what I'm talking about. It's something to behold. And like other companies, they may also face significant hurdles, but new opportunities if they do decide to relocate. As consumers, it is crucial to stay informed about these changes. We'll see a price raise on these, or they'll come out with these at a certain cost. And of course, our first initial reaction is, what the hell? And justifiably so. And the pitchforks come out, and the torches and the tar and feathers. But these guys like Epiphone, in this case tonight, because of geopolitical factors, may be forced, not maybe, they are forced to do these things, and we should take that in consideration. Again, it's what I call the price of doing business. It's not in my term. You guys have heard that before, but it's a phrase you're going to hear out of my mouth, because uh, the cost of the Inspired by Gibson line is the cost of doing business in this environment. And you, as a consumer, that cost of doing business gets passed down to you. You're an accessory to that particular crime, so you're going to pay. And that financial crime, and that it is what it is. But yeah, you should be aware. Stay informed about these changes as they directly affect the prices and I will point out, I didn't get into it too heavily there, but the availability of the guitars that we love. Again, out there in the used market, we don't have to worry about that. If you're buying used and you have the mindset to buy used, then I don't think that that will be a problem. I think that an environment like this may actually be one of the cures to the used market. It'll certainly stimulate if there's a shortage of the new ones. People, what did they do during COVID? When it was a shortage of the new ones, they went to the old ones and those sold like hotcakes. And this may free up the stagnation that we're seeing in the secondary market. It's an fortunate side effect. It's a fortunate side effect of an unfortunate thing, and of course that could uh, stabilize the prices as well, because once that the stagnant goes out and we clear out a lot of the churn, then I think that that market can get back to something reasonable and moving as well. And so again, uh, it is crucial, as I wrote, to stay informed on these issues, because again, I'm talking about guitars tonight, but it extends out to a lot of things. And as consumers of these things, we really should, again, look for alternatives. Always have a plan B, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Always have a plan B. Always have another direction that you could go, because even those choices are the gates on those are closing. So why not take advantage of them while they're still open and available to us as consumers? But yeah, Epiphone is in a pretty sticky wicket. I mean, they have set up a company, an American-owned company, in the not unhostile environment, at least not the least probably the most hostile environment, one of the most hostile environments they could be in at the moment, and that ain't good. Heck, worst case, I know I like to game things out in my mind sometimes. Like, what ifs? Where could this go to? If we're taking all these things into consideration, all these facts, gotta have facts. But once you take all these facts in consideration and you game it out, what could be the best and worst outcomes? And I didn't share the worst outcome on this one, because that's not good for the results of that would come about by things that would not be good for any of us, just on a pure health level. But one of the second worst outcome is that they shut down altogether because they're forced to. And that case, you would see the cost of Epiphones even in the secondary market go up. It could finally be that time, well, that mythical time when that 2012 Epiphone, what were those things called? It's like Easy Player or whatever is the cheapest one. Bolt on neck. That thing actually has some value to it. It won't just be firewood. When the tide goes up, all ships rise. But that's if that happens, then that again leads to the worst case scenario, and that ain't good. In that case, you ain't playing guitar. you, you're practicing running and diving and hiding, if possible. But these are things that could happen potentially, as I've outlined tonight. They are things that are happening, and something certainly to consider, guys. Sunbase says Gibson will have issues with their Epiphone factory in China. Well, yeah, yeah. The company I work for is divesting in China. They're divesting from China. Yeah. Bank of America is saying U.S. auto companies should exit China too. Not a good place to be. Again, yeah, man, dig that. They are. a little island that is in the middle of a very hostile island with forces that don't give a crap about guitars. Trust me, they don't care about a lot of things. But guitars are certainly not on their list. So yeah, um, just something to think about, guys. I throw it out there as food for thought. Maybe I again I it's not a criticism. That was one of the reasons why I brought. In fact, I also wanted to show the work that Fern did, but I also wanted to talk about Epiphones, not in a critical sense, because I obviously own Epiphones. I had quite a few of them. No, this is just when we start screaming at them when they raise prices, guys, just take a minute and think maybe there's external forces other than them, their greed that might actually be causing this. You know, trust me, there's plenty of examples when it's their greed. Let's not polish that apple too brightly because it's rotten on the inside. We know that. There are some bites that are a little less juicier than others, but to carry that apple metaphor a little further, but in this case, I do think it's external factors that will cause further price increases in availability of Epiphones going forward. We shall see. Again, they're in a damned if they do, damned if they don't kind of environment, and especially with people's wallets tight and they're not exactly flying off the shelves right now anyway. Well, that solves a supply chain issue, I guess. But it doesn't help the overall. It doesn't paint a rosy future economic growth kind of picture. Actually, quite the opposite. So we'll see what they do. If I was a betting man, well, I hope I would wish that they would go to India for the reasons that I listed. If I was a betting man and I said where would they really move, I use Singapore kind of as an outlier, just to as a title there. It is a possibility, as I've listed here, my reasonings why, but I think Vietnam. I think Vietnam would be a smart move for them too. All the way around. They're already set up there to get to work immediately. And in terms of the production costs, hierarchy going from Japan to Korea to China, yeah, Vietnam, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then maybe again, it'll be a rebirth for them. They can advertise it as such. Hey, check out these new Vietnamese. We've moved factories. We've retooled. We've got guys who are building guitars here for a long time working for us now, and we've got the best Epiphones we've produced in X amount of years, and it could work for them. Like I said, there's upsides and there's downsides to this. The downsides are very, very, very strong, but there are upsides to it. So again, guys, I'm not going to bash them. I'm not bad. This is not an Epiphone bashing thing, but it is to point out to you again. This extends not just to Epiphones; it extends to your anything that you have made in China. Basically, it's one of those kind of things. Was this camera made in China? Does it say? Yep, made in China. So everything from your camera to your wristwatch to your, this, that, and the other could be affected by that. The cost of it, the cost of these things. Again, and in an inflationary environment, that ain't good either because that's just adding pressure to that. So, food for thought, something to think about, guys. Did you check out the Three Chord Dave live stream, guys, that I did? Go to Three Chord Dave's channel and take a look at that. That came out pretty nice. I got a chance to sit down and go through it. the other day, and I liked it. And I'm glad we did it a second time as well. That was our second take, because my lighting was a lot better. I'm glad that I got this camera back. Again, one of the reasons why I didn't want to shoot any regular content without having my good camera is quality. Um, I started out, it's funny, I started out with a great camera, but I had really crappy lighting. And finally, I've gotten decent lighting, and with more to come. I even have, I mean, my light. This was my light. This was my one and only light for many, many a year. And sometimes it cut it, sometimes it didn't. It looks tiny, but this is actually a very powerful LED light. But this is the only lighting I had for filming, and now I have multiple lights and a good camera. And it's just funny thinking back over my years now of doing YouTube and just really learning some guys come out where their stuff is just high quality productions from day one. What you don't want to do is just come out with a video that has low quality, because people will automatically turn off just because of that. And that's the other reason why I didn't really want to do anything to this camera came back. But I was thinking just now, because I got all these lights on. It's great you've got that back. Finally, you've got some lighting so that it works even better. But I want to thank you guys because you supported me over the years. Um, Now, and you've made it possible that a lot of this stuff has come about, and a lot of these enhancements to the content here, the way it's created, um, is just made it just that much more better. Now, I'm trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We are halfway through this year and we are halfway there. And I do believe, with a little help from my friends out there, that we can do it. So spread the word, family and friends, everybody, come over and subscribe with Mike. Give him a thumbs up, and support this channel by getting us to 5,000 subscribers. This is my 399th video. I wanted my 400th video to be on a cool guitar. That's why I waited. I didn't put it out. I have it, that one's done. But I wanted my 400th video to be about that Yamaha, actually. And my 401st is going to be a lyric video for my song off my last album, Ants in the Pantry. Um, um, Everything you want, nothing that you. God, what is the name of that song? Guys, it's getting late when I can't remember the title. Here we go, are you ready for a good time? We got everything you want, nothing that you need, so come on. That song, anyway. I did a lyric video for that as a single because I realized I hadn't put out a single for that. And so that'll be coming up this week as well. Funky Good Time. Funky Good Time. I did a lyric video for my song Funky Good Time. So check that out as well. Both of those will be coming out, 400 and 401. Seamus O'Brien, if everyone recommends the channel to one or two people, you'll break 5,000 no problem. That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Seamus. So please, guys, please, friends and family kind of thing on this one. If you spread the word, hey, this guy Mike's all right. Why don't you check him out and give him a subscription? I really would like to get there, guys. It would mean a lot to me. And when I hit 5,000, we're going to do something special. We're going to really do something special. I mean, I'm not kidding, to celebrate that, because that would be quite a milestone for me. And but I'm going to keep on putting in the work. I'm not going to give up. Well, if I come this far, I might as well see what happens. You get to that point where you're like, well, I've come this far. Might as well see what happens, good or bad. But we'll give it a shot anyway. So we've come this far, you know. It reminds me of Harold and Kumar. Oh, dude, we've gone too far. They're just down the street, just down the hall from their apartment, but they're too high to go back. We've come this far, uh, so I think we can make it to that finish line with a little help from my friends. That's what I mean. So if you guys spread the word out, those that are here or that tune in the rerun and say, hey, go over this mic and give him a subscription hit, I really would appreciate that. Yep. So coming up this week, 400, video 400 of this channel is going to be talking about that Yamaha a little bit more detail. 401 is going to be the lyric video for Funky Good Time. 402 is going to be the unboxing video for the Greco 1978 Greco Strat that I have coming, the early 60s, and the Orville by Gibson SG from 1988. So yeah, as you can see, I've got the next three bits of content. Yeah, I honestly, I have things that I wanted to do, but I don't want to do it without this camera. And boy, I was editing the Yamaha stuff that I shot, and it seems like the video quality is even better. So I am happy because I want to present. I want to put my best foot forward. If you don't put your best foot forward, then don't expect great results. But if you do, then at least you're in the running. And so I really am glad that I've gotten my camera back. I can't stress that to you guys, so that I can start producing more regular content, not just live streams for this channel. And I've got the next three already lined up. You can support this channel, of course, by checking them out as they arrive. I'll try to string them out a little bit. Maybe I'll hold the unboxing off until after maybe Friday or so. At least maybe if it comes, which should be in by tomorrow or Tuesday. Certainly Wednesday we'll have the live stream, Wednesday Night Hump, and maybe I can give you guys a preview of those guitars. That would be awesome. You guys get the chance to see the SG and the Greco after the unboxing video, but before that video airs. So yeah, maybe this Wednesday coming up, we're going to have a preview of some pretty awesome guitars. I'm looking forward to the Greco Strat. I'm certainly looking forward to the Inspired by Gibson, the Orville by Gibson. I'm sorry, I keep saying Inspired by Orville by Gibson guitar, um, just because of the notoriety of it. I've strummed a few, never owned one, but that's coming up, guys. I hope that's enough to keep you enticed. If not, I can do a strip tease, but I think that wouldn't work out too great. Man, YouTube is becoming like OnlyFans. It's like, holy crap. I get things in my feed like I have no idea how that, because I ain't looking for that. At 57 years old, I live in Amsterdam. Trust me, I got that around me all the time. And that's a fact. But it's like YouTube is turning into OnlyFans. I'm like, holy moly. So I'm trying to, keep some decent content, going here. Some for everybody, some for the family, somewhat. Um, and so please support that. And not just me, but support Three Chord Dave. Go over his channel. If you haven't checked him out, check out the live stream that we did together on his channel. Support Tall Thin Kev. Go over to his channel and check out the stuff that he's doing over there. His chord of the day is something that I think everybody, from an educational standpoint, will benefit from. Check out all of our friends of this channel and go over and support them as much as you support me. And that way I don't have to do the striptease. And we can all have a happy day. We can all sing, "Oh, happy day." um, Thanks, guys. I had a great time tonight. I wasn't sure how this subject would come across, but I thought actually here at the end, it actually was one of my better discussions. We'll see how many other people think that way, but certainly food for thought for those of you who took the time to listen in, and I thank you so much. Thank you, Ben. Ben, you're always showing up early, man. Appreciate you sticking through all the way through all the time, brother. That is just awesome. And all the other guys that do the same. It's just awesome to me that you would sit here and listen to my ramblings. You guys have a good week, and I will certainly, God willing, see you on Wednesday. Please take care. Bye bye.